Carl Jung said, "Awaken and shine your light for others to follow. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This is an invitation to move differently in the world, to operate from a place of deep knowing and alignment. I'm Adrienne McDonald, and welcome to the Source Code Podcast. Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful humans. Happy February. January is done, and I think we are all ready for some different kind of energy mix. And that's what we're going to go through today. The energy mix of February. I'm going to talk about the gates that the sun will be transiting through. And then I'll give you a little nugget for each human design type, and also go through all the 12 profiles, so that you can have a little bit more focus of how to work with this energy this month. So, February is here, and it is bringing a fresh wave of energies that invite us to get real about our emotions. A lot of the gates this month are in the emotional center. This is about connecting deeply with others and taking a closer look to what really matters. Now, with the sun moving through gates 19, 13, 49, 30, 55, and 37, this month's a little bit like those little choose your adventure books, but instead of like dragons and treasure maps, you're exploring inward. You're exploring your emotional clarity, your value systems, and the art of creating more harmony in your relationships. And just to keep things interesting, because that is the way the universe works, Mars is still in retrograde in Cancer for most of the month. And this is slowing us down because, again, Mars is all about action and wanting to do things. It doesn't really like being in Cancer, but it is encouraging us to swap like impulsive action for some really heartfelt reflection. It finally turns direct on the 23rd. As a Cancer rising, I am very much looking forward to the 23rd. Until then, it's like the universe is handing you a permission slip to pause and recalibrate and asking yourself, look, am I moving through life in a way that feels good to my soul? And the energies this month are a reminder to take a breath and to lean into trust and hopefully, maybe even laugh a little at life's hiccups along the way. I hope you have a few laughs this month. I tend to go to humor even when I'm having a rough time, because that helps me move along the way. So first up, we're going to talk about the gates. Then I'm going to talk about the types, and then I'm going to talk about the profiles. So let's dive into the gates. When this episode drops, I had some technical difficulties, so it will be dropping on February 2nd. And gate 19 started on January, I think, 28th, and it ends on February 1st. So when you hear this, 19 will have transitioned out. However, to give you some reflection point, 19 is the gate of wanting, and the energy is about highlighting our need for connection and support, inviting us to assess where we rely on others versus where we can build inner resilience, because the shadow is codependence, and that may emerge as feelings of neediness or overdependence or needing that external validation. However, the gift is sensitivity, so we can attune to the needs of others and foster mutual respect and collaboration. So I think that looking back over the last week, like, where have you seen that? Are you operating the shadow or the gift? All right, February 2nd through February 7th, it's gate 13. And gate 13 is known as the gate of the listener. And the shadow and gene keys is discord, and the gift is discernment. So this energy asks us to hold a space for the stories of others while reflecting on the narratives that we carry within ourselves. And the shadow this can feel really uncomfortable because we're replaying stories, old stories, generally of conflict. However, because again, when we judge or when we react, that's triggering some of our own stuff inside of us. However, the gift of discernment allows us to distinguish the truth from illusion. And the city of this particular gate is empathy. And that allows us to, well, empathy empowers us to see the interconnectedness of everything, right? So then we move on to gate 49, which is February 8th through February 12th. And that vibe is revolution and principles. And this is the gate of principles. And in its shadow, in the Gene Keys, it's reaction. The gift is revolution, and the city is rebirth. I have debated and contemplated this particular gate for a long, long time, because this is my design Mars. This would, in Gene Keys, that's called your core wound or your vocation. So I know this one very, very well. This gate carries the energy of transformation and value alignment. This is what is deeply valuable in your soul's eyes. The shadow of reaction may show up as resistance or emotional outburst, but the gift of revolution inspires us to create meaningful change rooted in integrity. And I have integrity also, that the gate of integrity, in a really prominent place as well in my chart. And when we do that, at the acidic level, the rebirth becomes possible because it allows you to release what no longer serves you and embrace a new way of being. I also think that this has taught me a lot about the pause, the sacred pause, because obviously the shadow is reaction. And it's also taught me a lot about compassion and meeting people where they are. And it's taught me about allowing people to be where they are and not trying to fix it, or that whole savior complex. So it's definitely a very impactful gate, especially when the whole idea of being reactive, I think, is something that we all have struggled with at one point in our life. And a lot of people, judging by world events, are still struggling with. So give that some thought. Then on February 13th or the 18th, we have gate 30, which is known as the gate of the clinging fire. And the vibes of this gate are desire and emotional clarity. When we're talking about the Gene Keys, the shadow is desire, the gift is lightness, and the city state is rapture. So the energy of gate 30 amplifies our desires, offering us an opportunity to clarify what we truly want. And you're just coming off of something with the energy of gate 49. It's all about your principles, right? So you see where this is going. This is like getting more down into the nitty gritty of like, what is it that you value and what is it that you want. Now, the shadow of desire can lead to attachment and dissatisfaction, but that gift of lightness invites us to pursue our dreams without being overly fixated on it. We're not talking about obsession here. We're talking about healthy, like, connection and being integrity with ourselves. Then in, February 19th to the 23rd, we have gate 55. And gate 55's vibe is emotional freedom. It's known as the gate of spirit. And in the shadow, it's victimization. In its gift, it is freedom. And in the acidic state, it's freedom as well. This is about focusing on emotional freedom and abundance. And the shadow of victimization may manifest as like feelings of lack or powerlessness. But the gift of freedom helps us transcend limitations and trust that life's in flow. And I think this really happens when you're in integrity with yourself. Like, you know what your value systems are. You know what you will tolerate, what you won't tolerate. You know what the life direction that you, at least the next couple of steps, the way you want to move. The acidic state of freedom is a state of pure liberation where emotional clarity allows for unconditional trust and connection with the divine or God or whatever word that you want, the universe, whatever word that you are comfortable with. So then we move in to gate 37 on February 24th to the 28th. And that is, the vibes of that are, the gate is known as the gate of friendship, and the vibes are harmony and family. And the shadow is weakness, and the gift is equality, and the acidic state is tenderness. And gate 37 fosters connection and harmony in relationships, particularly within families and communities. The shadow of weakness may surface as like dependency, disempowerment, but the gift of equality encourages balanced reciprocal relationships. And I think that is something that people go through when they're going on their personal growth journey or spiritual growth journey. They really, I know I did. I struggled with the dissolving of some of the relationships I had that weren't very reciprocal. And so when this gate comes up, there is this energy of sort of wanting to look around in your life and examine, do I have a lot of one-way streets here, or are most of the streets in my relationship two-way? So let's go on to how the different types can sort of work with the themes of the month. And for generators and manifesting generators, remember that your not self theme is frustration. When you're feeling like you're stuck in cycles of emotional repetition or external pressures. That this month is, you might be feeling that if you're in your not self. And the key awareness here is tune into what truly excites you, what fulfills you, instead of reacting to obligations that drain your energy. And allow your sacred responses to guide you in those conversations about your relationships and the commitments that you're making. So projectors, remember your not self theme is bitterness, feeling unseen, feeling unappreciated in your emotional insights. And your key awareness is focusing on recognizing your own wisdom instead of waiting for others to validate your perspective. And honor your need for deep listening and meaningful. That's the key here, meaningful invitation. Remember, you have all the wisdom in the world, but the people aren't ready to hear it. They're just not going to hear it, and then that's going to make you better. So give that gold to someone who can hear it. Manifestors, your not self theme is anger, feeling block or resistant when trying to create change. Now, your key awareness is use this month to refine how you communicate your emotions and your desires and initiate from a place of internal clarity, not reaction, not toleration, not obligation. And then we move to reflectors. Your not self theme is disappointment. So feeling out of sync with emotional expectations or environments, that's the not self. And your key awareness is this month, focus on aligning with supportive communities and supportive spaces that reflect your highest emotional truth. So trust your lunar cycle before, and I always say this to reflectors because I've talked to a couple that it may not be the full lunar cycle. It may be the full lunar cycle. You know when you know, that type of thing. But step away from environments that feel out of sync. So working with February's energy from a profile standpoint. So our 1-3s, you want to deepen your emotional foundation by researching the root of your desires. Like get down in there and assess relationship dynamics. Your learning process is going to come through trial and error, so trust in the lessons that you uncover along the way. The 1-4s, your strong foundation and values supports your ability to share wisdom with your community, and your community is super important. You might go through a period this month of evaluating if you're in the right community. And this is a great month to initiate meaningful conversations around that. So the 2-4, you got to lean into your solitude a little bit more this month so that you can nurture your emotional clarity, and your natural magnetism will draw in the right people in the right time when you're in alignment with your own emotional needs. So go hermit a little bit more this month, especially since it's Mars retrograde. Then let's go to the 2-5. Your ability to retreat and gain wisdom prepares you to step forward as a more transformative force because you know it's coming. You're a 5. That's just the way it goes. But this month is about trusting your intuition while preparing to share those key insights so that you won't react when someone is wanting that wisdom and tries to force it a little bit early. 3-5s. Expect a few emotional experiments this month. My 3-5s out there, I feel you. I'm already in that game. So your strength lies in trying different approaches, and when after you may be going through it, but you teach others about it on the other side. So be kind to yourself and just ride the wave. I think the big lesson for 3-5s here, I would say, is probably the don't react, like the overreaction, the overanalyzing, that type of thing. That the gate 49, I'm feeling it for my fellow 3-5s. 3-6. Your path is shaped by experiences that eventually lead to wisdom. Again, you're one of those experimenters too. And I think that this month is focusing on balancing, the personal trials with gate 30 with visionary leadership, which is gate 49, which is, again, it's that the gate 49's shadow is reaction, but its gift is visionary leadership, which is perfect for the 3-6. 4-6, you got to work on strengthening your emotional bonds, and you're going to be able to give more guidance through lived experience by turning inward to do that. And your ability to create harmony in relationships, once you strengthen that, is a really powerful gift. 4-1, it deep dive on emotional awareness while cultivating a structured approach to. I think it's a wider net, a deeper dive into how maybe a process around transformation, like research first and then share what you've learned with your community. Those are the vibes I'm getting there. 5-1, you're going to lead by example by giving clarity to what emotional freedom is and what stability to relationship dynamic is for you. And by sharing that insight, you're really going to see some tangible change. The 5-2s, let's see, 5-2s, what am I feeling here? All right, so I feel like the 5-2s are really challenged because their 5 is out there first. So you might feel like people are pulling on you a little bit more emotionally this month. And your wisdom is really potent when it's shared. But you got to make sure that you allow yourself, your hermit time, to retreat and integrate before teaching. Like, don't jump the gun there. So take some time, and I feel like boundaries are going to be really important for 5-2s this month. For a lot of people, but especially 5-2s. 6-2s. 6-2s, I feel like you, especially if you're over the age of 50, you've really accumulated a lot of knowledge around this if you've done the work. This emotional clarity, and your influence grows when you align with your higher vision, right? And trust in your role as the way shower for emotional integrity. But retreat when you need to, hermit when you need to. And then 6-3, and you lead by example by embracing life's lessons. And you also might be another way shower on embodying emotional clarity, because your wisdom comes from your lived experience. But also, I think that with Mars in retrograde, you might be trying a couple of different new self-care techniques. I mean, that might be coming out too. All right, I want to give 3 journal prompts for this month. Okay. Number 1, what emotional patterns or beliefs am I ready to release this month? And how can I create the space for that? Number 2, where am I seeking external validation? And how can I create greater trust in my own inner wisdom? And number 3, how can I bring more balance and harmony into my relationships while maintaining my own emotional boundaries? Now, if you get stuck with that, I would go back and look at your deconditioning guide. Remember, if you don't already have it, I have a free human design deconditioning guide. The link is in the show notes. Go and grab that if you're really stuck on these journal prompts, because that will probably bring some thoughts into how to execute on some of these suggestions. So, February is not asking you to have it all figured out. It is a process. This is an invitation to get curious and embrace change and really dive into the depths of your emotional clarity and trust the process. So take your time, be kind to yourself, and let February surprise you. Now, the next episode is a special one because it's going to be the 100th episode of this podcast, and I've been mulling on it. However, if you've got anything you'd like to hear about or questions, you can drop them in my social media comments or send an email to the link in the show notes. This is a pretty exciting milestone for me, and I am super, super, super grateful for all of you that listen. And yeah, so I look forward to dropping that on Friday. That is it. Remember to find beauty every day and seek the magic in the mundane. Thank you for listening to the Source Code Podcast. If you found this episode insightful and feel moved to, please leave a review. and share it out with those you believe will find it helpful. You can check out my website for more information at www.adrianmcdonald.com. And for more of my more regular musings, connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. I hope you have a beautiful week.